Well, it's very difficult to predict. As you rightly mentioned, Bahrain's joining in with this ceremony was to some minds rather unexpected. After all, Bahrain has perhaps a little more to lose from going public with this compared to the UAE. It, of course, has had a very recent history of very significant domestic instability, and indeed a number of local opposition groups have already voiced their disapproval of the accord. So in this sense, it's perhaps the case that Bahrain has been rather strong-armed into this agreement. With regard to Saudi Arabia, it's certainly possible they could end up joining in with this accord, perhaps at a slightly later stage. After all, the Saudi government has clearly signaled its tacit approval of the deal. It's allowed, for example, Saudi airspace to be open to Israel UAE flights. However, I think Saudi Arabia has far more complex internal dynamics with a still more substantial conservative population and a still relatively powerful religious establishment that may choose to push back at this.
Right now, there are just so many different layers involved when we talk about who's backing whom in this region. But certainly, the Turks under President Erdogan have been very, very forthright about their disapproval of the normalization of ties between Israel and Bahrain and Israel and the UAE. And certainly the Qataris are on board with the Turks here. How is this playing out, do you think, in terms of what's happening in the Eastern Med? Because obviously any of these energy discoveries can upend the game for this part of the region, no? I mean, the Gulf Arab economies.
Yes, I think the Eastern Mediterranean is the current sort of front line in this region-wide struggle, where we've essentially got two large Middle Eastern blocs, as it were, two axes. On the one hand, we have Turkey and Qatar backing their allies in the region. On the other hand, we have Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, and to some extent Egypt as well. And we shouldn't forget, of course, that the current Egyptian administration was essentially that established in 2013 with the financial backing of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates as part of an effort to prevent this Muslim Brotherhood government in Egypt from surviving in office, which in turn was being backed financially by Qatar and diplomatically by Turkey.